Hello everybody, thanks for joining me for another deep dive into one of my latest guitars. So the story of this episode's guitar is really connected to all of my guitar making teaching. Back in 2019, I set up the Bristol Guitar Making School, which is my outlet for all my teaching efforts. I love sharing my knowledge and passion for guitar making with students in my workshop here, and we have a great time building guitars over 3 weeks. We start with the wood as it arrives, just plain timber ready to be processed and turned into a guitar by the end of 3 weeks using predominantly hand tools. It's a pretty intensive week, but it is a lot of fun. And occasionally I'll have space on a workbench to build my own guitar as a demonstration to the students to help them to kind of understand some of the techniques, the ways that they should be using the chisels and planes, so that they can kind of see the process unfold in front of their eyes before they actually take tools to the wood themselves. And this guitar is an example of one of those instruments. I've probably only done this twice that I've built a guitar on the course myself, because I've been very fortunate. It's mostly booked out, but this guitar gave me an opportunity to do a little bit of making myself. I had a great time building a guitar that is quite clean and utilitarian without any of the fuss of extra decoration. So it's just the minimum requirement that's needed to make a guitar work. So it's very refreshing to build an instrument in this kind of way. If I'm going to build a guitar myself, I like to experiment with something that I haven't tried before, kind of find out what tonal responses I'm going to get from different woods. In the case of this guitar, the two kind of exciting woods that I was keen to try out were English cherry for the back and sides, which is a gorgeous honey-coloured timber. It's tight grained, so a natural finish on it looks really, really great. We've also got a Spanish cedar neck, which is a really interesting wood to use. I'd actually never used it before I built this guitar. Spanish cedar is used all the time on nylon strung classical guitars and flamenco guitars for necks. It grows on the doorsteps of Spanish guitar luthiers' workshops. Although it looks a lot like mahogany, Spanish cedar is very different to work with. It's extremely easy to sculpt and carve. I would describe it as the aero chocolate bar of the timber world. It's not typically seen on a steel string instrument, so with this guitar I was keen to see how the neck was going to respond to steel strings. In this case, I can confirm that the truss rod is absolutely necessary. That Spanish cedar neck doesn't hold the tension in the same way, but with a fully functioning truss rod, everything realigns beautifully. We've got an ebony fingerboard, bridge and headstock veneer. This is an ideal wood for all of those components because it's hard wearing, it's black, so it's got a beautiful clean look to it. It adds strength over the scarf join for the headstock, and the fingerboard adds stiffness to the neck. Perhaps unusually, I've got brass bridge pins on this guitar. Now, some people feel that brass bridge pins are detrimental to the sound of the instrument. Now, all I know is that the best sounding guitar I ever made had brass bridge pins on it, so it certainly worked for me. However, this is something that can easily be changed. I love the look of the brass, and I think it just looks really smart. And last but not least, we've got rosewood bindings around the body. No purfling, just a really clean, simple scheme. I think it looks great. I'm a big fan of wood bindings over plastic bindings. I think it's a real shame to go to this much effort and not use wood. So this guitar is my typical OM shape. All that really means is it's 14 frets to the body, and what you gain is more access to the upper frets, so it's a great versatile instrument. Probably my personal favourite guitar shape of all the types that I build. The scale length is 645 millimeters, which is pretty close to 25.5 inches. It's a nice easygoing scale length, not too long but not too short. Slightly longer scale lengths tend to lend themselves to a more powerful sound. Shorter scale lengths tend to be a bit sweeter in tone. So I've probably done more OMs than anything else, I reckon. I've even covered 2 previous deep dives, I think episodes 4 and 5, were both OM guitars. So I do more of them than anything else, I reckon. And that's mainly because it's just such a great all-rounder. My guitars that I build are based on my own in-house plan drawings for sale on the Bristol Guitar Making School website. If anyone's a bit more interested in knowing what's going on under the bonnet on this guitar, you can track down the plans. I'll put a link in the description. Probably the other thing to point out on this guitar is the bridge design. Fundamentally, it's pretty similar to your typical guitar bridge, but what I've tried to do with this bridge is keep a good size footprint to maximise the gluing surface, so you've got plenty of strength on the bridge to hold the tension of the strings, but I've attempted to reduce the mass quite a lot by really heavily scooping out the wings of the bridge. So it's really only the centre of the bridge where most of the mass is. The thing a lot of people don't realise is the bridge itself is actually a brace, and given that the bracing is key to the sound of the guitar, I think the shaping of the bridge is crucial as well. However, the bridge is made of ebony, very different material to spruce that is typically used for the bracing on the underside. So I think keeping the mass of the bridge down is really important. A bit nervous until I hear a guitar that I'm building. It can be months before I get to actually hear what it sounds like, so I'm always a bit on edge. I wasn't disappointed with the sound of this one. I was really keen to know what the cherry was going to do to the sound of the guitar, and I think coupled with the linseed oil finish of this guitar is a bit warmer and more mellow than some of the other guitars that I build. I've also given this guitar quite a low action, just to kind of make it a real nice easy lounge guitar, just an ideal instrument for having at home and strumming away on the couch. So thanks for dropping in, everybody. This guitar is going to be listed on my online store, so head over to alexbishopguitars.com if you want to know a little bit more, or even get your hands on it if it's still available. If you're excited by the idea of building your own guitar and you want to sign up to one of my 3-week courses or one of the many other courses that I run, go check out the Bristol Guitar Making School website. I'll put a link in the description below this video, and drop me an email if you want to know a little bit more, or just book yourself straight on. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next deep dive. See you soon.